obsessed with what she does for a living, not at all focused on her personal life, you know, for better or worse. That just is not her focus in life. She's completely just total tunnel vision on her professional world. And I thought that was really compelling. We're not tracking her love life throughout the course of the movie. We are just watching someone who has spent her entire life totally obsessed with what she does. She's so good at it. She's brilliant. She's achieved so many things. I would say that M3GAN is about a really brilliant roboticist, Gemma, who is able to program and create a robot doll named M3GAN to help her in becoming the new parent guardian of her niece, Cady, when her sister and brother-in-law die tragically. And it is the story of this misfit household with a child, an adult, and a robot. The question then is, okay, if you have a machine that's been built by humans and it's allowed to learn kind of autonomously, what are they going to learn and what are they going to do with that information without any context, without any parenting, so to speak? What does that knowledge do? How does it get ingested and digested and then, you know, repurposed? And that is one of the driving questions of the movie. She was just in a corner of a very dark stage, surrounded by with a prop table next door, and she was just sort of like this. But her eyes were open and her head was up and she was standing upright, and I just was like, ooh, this is so creepy. I was like, she is here, she is upsetting, she feels very real. Her hair is perfect, her makeup is flawless, like this is gonna be freaky. She just felt really real. I think just from seeing even the poster, you kind of know how it's going to work out, which is part of the fun of being in this genre. We know that the audience kind of suspects how this is going to go, and part of our job is to deliver on that imagination of what this dynamic is going to look like. And I think we've done a good job of that.
M3GAN, she is a robot / doll, and she's actually just made to like protect Cady, and then she starts getting a bit too overprotective of Cady and everything that's around her. And so if she thinks that anything's happened with Cady and someone's being mean to her or made her cry or made her upset, she thinks that the best way is to just wipe them out. I love that M3GAN's such a fun character to play, and she's like really like loves Cady and she like loves to do stuff with her. I don't like that she kills people, but it's fun to act like when she kills people. The preparation that we have to do for this is my dance teacher, Kylie Norris, choreographed a little dance, and then we had Ike and Jed. They also helped with all of the movement, making sure that it was like right. And then we had this piece of music that we did it to, and it was absolutely so fun to do. I've represented New Zealand at the Dance World Cup in Portugal in 2019, and I'm the first New Zealander to ever bring back medals, and I got bronze and silver. Dancing does very much help because you need balance as a robot, because robots, they don't usually, you don't see them like wobbling around or doing human stuff. So control, waiting around, is two things that are very important that comes from dance that I can use in acting.
The thing about AI is you essentially enable a robot to teach itself. And so M3GAN surpasses everything that Gemma has taught her. She has these emergent capabilities, which means when M3GAN comes up against a challenge, in order to overcome that challenge, she has to become better. So she keeps exceeding at this rate that no one else can quite keep up with or predict how this might turn out. And what does happen is that M3GAN takes her protocols of being Cady's protector and stopping Cady from ever being exposed to harm just way too far. And so essentially that means that if anyone poses a threat to to Cady, M3GAN is going to take care of that threat. It was incredibly challenging to make M3GAN. There was so many facets that go into creating that character. She's, in order to make this robot that can walk and talk, like obviously that technology is not quite there yet. So in order for us to, kind of trick the audience into believing that this technology existed, it took a multifaceted approach. There was a lot of learning involved. And it was really only by the time we were shooting with her that we really kind of were starting to get a handle on the best ways to bring her to life. This was a challenge working with animals, robots, and children. But the process was made that much easier by having someone like Violet, who is just a phenomenal actress. She's so good that I genuinely thought that she was the meek, fragile little child she was in her audition. And then I met her and she's so bubbly and vivacious and she's a real pro. Like she's really, it's incredible that someone that young can be just so on point. She has a point of view. And as far as she's concerned, she's not just a co-parent or an assistant to Gemma. She can do this on her own if necessary, and she will. And that's really the fear that we're working under, is that if we put so much reliance in technology and give technology these things that we don't want to do, they will not only do them and do them better, but they'll render us useless and they'll decide that they don't need us anymore. And that's really what the film's about. What makes M3GAN so scary is that we're just not far away from this technology existing. We have robots that look lifelike, and we have robots that can, do incredible feats of, physicality. And so really M3GAN is a reminder to all of us that this, if we're not careful, this is where the future's heading.
It was a new take on a new doll movie, so I just thought it was very interesting. And I was super excited to see how they were going to bring M3GAN alive. I play Cady, and Cady is a sweet but a sad, depressed little girl because she lost her parents, so she's very sad. And she's not really used to her Aunt Gemma yet, but when she meets her best friend M3GAN, she gets more happy. When I was alone in the car when we were filming in the forest, I was actually talking to her, even though it wasn't a scene, because I was like, I wish she would let me bring you home. And if I had one in real life, I would love to play with her and do all that fun stuff with her. She'd be like a sister to me. Sometimes she can be very creepy, but when she sings to me, I feel like she's just a sweet little innocent girl that's not a robot and a murderer.
What the movie is about using technology to raise our kids. And this movie kind of is a commentary on that, as well as kind of extrapolating that idea into what's that going to be like in the future? Where's the inevitable endpoint of all this? Is it good? Is it bad? What are the consequences of it? David is the CEO of the toy company that is responsible for creating M3GAN. He's also the boss of Allison Williams' character, and he is a pretty competent guy from what I can tell. He's pretty good looking, really rose to the top very young, obviously knows what he's doing most of the time. Oh, Amie is amazing. It's one of those, how are you gonna make this movie without a genius like that? A physical genius, acting genius. She's running the lines with Violet, so she has to act as well. So she's acting and she's physically performing. I mean, she can do almost anything. Anything you ask of her physically, she can run on 4 limbs. She can do a standing flip with no momentum, which is unbelievable. I think it's a very iconic look. I think we're going to see a lot of Halloween costumes of M3GAN. And when you see her on screen, and even when you're acting with it, just the puppeteers with the subtle movements, it's very unnerving in a very cool way. If you're a fan of horror, I think this has its moments. If you like comedy, think it has its moments. If you're someone who kind of enjoys social commentary, stories that say something a bit more about the times that we live in, I think you'll appreciate this one. If you're a fan of creepy dolls killing people, I'm trying to think of who wouldn't like this movie.